Hi everybody, I'm Mark Dorr. A common problem and challenge that we find in classes sometimes is that students just don't want to talk. And it's a little difficult to improve in your speaking skills if you don't make your errors just like I just did and keep going and learn from them. The student doesn't like to speak to others in his or her own language, first language, let alone in a second language situation. So what do you do about that? Well, here are a few hints that I might give that can help a student, and I've actually taught classes on this, just be able to just speak. Be comfortable with the fact that they say sometimes, like I still do, and do some other things. One of the things that I've noticed in the United States that we've fallen out of is asking good questions. If you can do one thing as a good conversationalist, it's not that you speak more, it's that you ask a few questions, even one question. I have given classes on speaking where I have asked the participants to notice in a week how many people will be in a conversation with them and never ask a single question. And it's amazing how many participants come back and say, I had no idea, and I do the same thing, they say. Just asking a single question not only takes the work off of you, because the other people are doing the work too, but it makes people feel like you're interested in them. Not just a question like, how are you doing? How's the weather? But, they're talking about something. Well, how does that make you feel? Or, what's the hard part about that? Or, well, that's interesting, tell me more. Or, how would that work in this situation? Anything like that will raise your level immediately as a person who's a conversationalist. Here's another little trick that I figured out. The difference between but and, B-U-T, and A-N-D. Listen to the difference in these sentences. I love you, but, oh boy, doesn't your stomach just sink? Thinking, oh man, what's coming next? This is not good. I love you, and, this person maybe cares about me and we've got to work on something. Very different feeling there. See what happens when you can change buts to ands. It takes the edge off of things for a lot of people and makes them more comfortable to discuss things that might not be so easy to discuss. In another video, I talked about register. Register makes a big difference. Find the level of formality that works for the situation. If you're talking to some person in a higher level or in a formal setting, you need to watch that language, versus if you're just hanging out with people, you probably need to loosen it up a little bit. Now, people want to be heard and acknowledged, don't you? If you're involved in a conversation, you like to know that people have heard you and acknowledged you. That can mean different things for different people. Sometimes that's all you need, even in a difficult situation. Story comes to mind. My father once was in charge of the National Conference for the Western Writers of America, meeting in Colorado Springs. And there was a person came up to the registration desk who was causing all kinds of trouble. Trouble about this, trouble about that. And my father came around and he just said, "Just tell me, what is it you want?" And the person started arguing and yelling at us. "No, just tell me. What do you want? What do you want out of this?" And it kind of surprised the person. They thought they would have to argue or whatever, but they felt heard, felt listened to, and they ended up just saying some very simple thing that was very easy to solve, and it diffused the entire situation. If you're talking to somebody with an opposing view, somebody who doesn't think the same way as you, we have that happen quite a bit, see if you can find any way to praise or agree in some sense. There might be some part of it, like, it looks like you're really passionate about helping children. Now, you might not agree with how that person wants to help children, but you make this statement. Or, those are important issues. You really know a lot about the election process. Yeah. The person very well might not agree with you about what you're saying about the election process, but you can validate them that, well, you do know a lot about that. Doesn't mean you agree. Or simply, like I said, if there's some sort of conflict, simply saying, "What do you want?" If you need one book to look at regarding speaking as a verbal defense, a great one is The Gentle Art of Verbal Self-Defense by Suzette Haden Elgin, I believe it's how it's pronounced. I would get one of the newer versions. This came out quite a bit ago, and it's a little dated in some of the things it's talking about. Still very good book, but you might want to get the more recent one.